Good morning, good morning. This is Monday morning here where I live, and I wanted to share an uncensored, not really prepared, just an informal way of sharing my perspectives to you women out there. I have been, the last couple of weeks, I've been doing free mind shifting sessions, offering just a glimpse of how I can help to many of you. And then I had quite a few of you take sessions with me. And one of the things based on that, I wanted to just share that more than what you all think, you have far more strength than that you are aware of. You might feel weak, you might feel tired, you might feel helpless, you might have a lot of sadness, maybe a lot of anxiety in your mind, in your heart. You might feel a sense of incapability about life, but there is far more strength that you have that you are not aware of. And today's video is just my honest, informal, uncensored, sharing about it. So one of the things that drew me to the work that I'm doing right now is my own experience of dealing with anxiety. More than 10 years back, we moved countries. We moved from India to here, and as we moved, there was a big change. And then a couple of years after that, actually a few years before we moved itself, my dad passed, and then a couple of years after that, I lost my sibling, my brother, and my mother. And the combined effect of all of these losses with the shift proved quite traumatic to my subconscious mind, though I wasn't aware of it at that time. And what I noticed over the months and years is that small things used to trigger me, and I would start feeling and worrying about lots of things, worrying about my children, worrying incessantly about my future, about the children's future, about their health, about my health. And then it would go on into an overthinking mind. And I don't know about you, but I have a big overthinking mind. And now when I'm learning how to manage my mind, I have come to the conclusion that if you have an overthinking mind, it just means that you're extremely intelligent, right? Your mind is so capable. Your mind is capable of creating amazing stories, except that an overthinking mind ends up creating a lot of negative stories. Anyway, I'll come back to that, in a few moments. But what I wanted to share is that with that overthinking mind, my mind would go instantly into a scenario where I was imagining that something bad was happening to my children or to my family, or I would just go in an overthinking loop about something so inconsequential and just end up thinking so much negative. And that negativity started affecting my mind, started affecting my decision making, started affecting my focus, my attention span, and then affecting the choices that I was making or the lack of choices that I was making. And that probably some of the things that you might be experiencing too. So I just want to kind of draw a parallel, and say that over the years, I have learned processes, I've learned techniques, and I have been practicing it on myself. And that is a daily practice, that's an hourly practice, that's a constant practice. But if I can do it, you can do it too. And it's not that you don't have to become a totally different person, though I believe that you do end up becoming different. When you start changing your thought processes, you become a different person. When you learn how to emotionally regulate yourself, you become a different person. When you change the perspective of your mind from the negative to the positive. But with all of that, when you are learning how to become and create a different personality for yourself, you are starting to see the strength that you never knew you had. You are starting to become more aware of the strength that you have. And that's the perspective that I want to share with you today. So assume and imagine that you have a lot of self-doubt. That maybe you're doubting yourself and saying, I'm not so capable. Or you're doubting yourself and saying, I'm not so as intelligent as those people. You're looking at some social media posts and you're scrolling and saying, oh, they are looking so well, they are so happy, their children are so happy, they are so well settled, and here, look at my problems, right? And you are constantly worrying and, obsessing about all the problems that you have. And when you start thinking about the problems, have you noticed that the problems seem to become like a huge mountain? And then you look at the person whose social media profile that you are watching, or your whose WhatsApp message that you've just read, and you're thinking, they are so happy. How are they doing things so well, and why am I not being able to do things well? And then you go on into this constant loop about, I'm not good enough, or I'm not capable, or I have made such bad decisions, I've made so many mistakes in my life, or I should have done this, and I'm not done. And that's just the narrative, that story that your mind is telling you at this moment. Dear friends, that is the story that your mind is telling you at this moment. So for a moment, try this. Just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to just pause all my storytelling. And for a moment, I'm just going to push all that storytelling to a side. And focusing on my breathing. And I'll come back to that story. I've not forgotten this negative story that I'm telling, my mind is telling. But for a moment, I'm just not going to pay attention to that. And I'm going to pay attention instead to my breathing. And I'm going to pay attention to my internal body, not the external environment, not the nonsense that the world possibly may be telling, not the way that relatives and friends are behaving towards me. No. For a moment, I'm just going to pay attention on my internal processes and just connect with that intelligence of my higher self. Just connect with that bodily intelligence, that mental intelligence that I have within me. That higher intelligence that's running my body, that's making my heart beat. That intelligence that's ensuring that the body processes are functioning the way that it's supposed to function to keep me alive, that the hormones are being released, that my limbs are functioning, that my bone cartilages are working in the way that it's supposed to. And there is an intelligence that's working there, that's creating and then ensuring that processes. So for a moment, just let me connect with that process. And as I connect with that process, I'm able to still my mind a little bit more. And in that brief stillness of my mind, I'm coming to a mental state which is a no story state. So I'm pushing aside all my negative stories. I don't want even a positive story. I'm having a no story state, a no minds, no thought state. If that is difficult, let's just choose an affirmation mantra and saying that I trust the intelligence of my body, I trust the intelligence of my higher self. And keep repeating it. I trust the higher intelligence, and keep repeating that as a mantra till my mind becomes far more stiller than before. And once I do that, within a couple of minutes, I find that my mind is feeling so much more better and I'm able to connect to that internal strength. So I just wanted to give you a brief glimpse about that. And as you glimpsed and just had a feel of that strength that you have, the more and more you get into that strength state, you find that you are more capable than you ever thought yourself to be. You will find that you are much more calmer than you thought you could be. You find that you have far more abilities to solve the problems in your life than you thought you had. All you need to do is to move, come out of that story and get into your body, repeat a mantra. And this was just one tool that I wanted to share. I didn't think I'm going to share a tool today, but I ended up sharing it. So this was an uncensored um, unprepared, spontaneous video that I wanted to share with you to help you realize today, Monday morning, that you are far more stronger than you think you are. So if you like it, just share a comment, share your thoughts about any part of this video. And if you have other affirmations that you like, that you have been using, just put that on the comments, because that will be very useful for the others. If you have other ways of disconnecting from your mental stories and getting inside yourself, put that in the comments below. There are million ways out there, and your wisdom will be welcomed, and that will help all those who are watching this. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening and watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.